Hi guys, my name is Victoria and welcome back to my monthly booktube video. No, just kidding. I've really been trying to post more, but somehow a month has gone by again without a video. So I don't know. I don't know anymore. Maybe December will be the month that I go back to weekly videos. I hope so. That's the plan anyways. But I am trying to get back into booktube, so bear with me while I figure my life out continuously. But today I'm here with my fall book haul. I haven't gotten as many books throughout this fall just because I've been busy with other things. I haven't been really looking for books. I haven't been book shopping very much. I have my new office where I work is right by a little Goodwill that's only for books, and so I do sometimes pop in there after work on my way home. If I have a spare hour, I'll visit them before going home. So that is terrible for my book buying habits, but also awesome. I like that I can do that now. But I do have a few books here. I have 14 books, I believe. I think I counted them. 14 books to show you today. I think I'll start off with my Book of the Month collection. I was being kind of good for a while and getting only like one book of the month in each monthly box. And then in the fall, I really fell off that wagon just because I've really liked a lot of their selections. They've sounded more interesting to me in the past few months, and so let's just dive right into that. The first book that I'll show you is The Perishing by Natasha Dion, and this book, I know nothing about this author, never heard of her before, but this is not her first book, I believe. She has an award-winning book before this called Grace, and this book just sounded so cool. The premise sounded fascinating. This book is about a black woman, and I think is it set, oh no, in the 1930s. I was thinking it was set in like modern times, but it's set in the 1930s. We follow a black woman who has been kind of just dropped into the world. She doesn't really know what her background is. She doesn't remember like past a certain point in her life, but she becomes the first black female journalist at the Los Angeles Times. So this is set in the Los Angeles area, of which I'm very familiar. I don't live too far from Los Angeles. I go there a lot for various things, and so I am really intrigued by the setting and the premise of kind of this mystery of this woman who doesn't know what her background is, but rises up in the world in the 30s. And it says, when she befriends a firefighter at a downtown boxing gym, Lou is shocked to realize that though she has no memory of meeting him, she's been drawing his face for years. So I guess she's going to be meeting some people who maybe she knows in a past life. I think there's maybe a fantastical element to this or something. I don't know. It sounded mysterious and good, and the setting and the time period really intrigued me. Kind of historical fiction melded with a little bit of a fantastical mystery element. So this just sounded really good. So not really knowing anything about the author or this book really very much. I haven't heard anyone talk about it or review it. So let me know if you know of anyone who has read this and enjoyed it, because it sounds really good. The next book I have to show you is Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead, and this is an author I have not tried, but I've always had my eye on. He's won 2 Pulitzer Prizes for his previous 2 novels, The Underground Railroad and The Nickel Boys. This cover is amazing. I love this cover. Unfortunately, I've heard some mixed reviews for this and seen some negative reviews a little bit, but I'm still gonna try it. This follows a man named Ray, and is this historical? It is. It's set in Harlem in the 1960s. So we follow 1960s Harlem and a man named Ray who is sort of trying to reconcile his life between some crime that's kind of finding him and like neighbors who try to involve him in crime. And then he's also trying to just provide for his family with his furniture shop and be an upstanding citizen and just like live a decent life. But he's also torn into this crime business, I believe, with another friend of his or a relation. And so I think this book is him kind of trying to walk that line and figure out how to both navigate both worlds. This cover is just stunning. I love the colors and the grid effect of it, and I'm excited to try this sometime. Another book of the month, again, historical fiction. I didn't mean to just pick historical fiction, but apparently that's what I am into right now, maybe. That's what's calling to me. And so I picked up The Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles. I don't know if I said that name right, but this is an author I've had my eye on, and I forget who said this. I was watching a video of someone else, and she said, I feel like this is an author who I already know I'm gonna like, and I feel the same way. I do have A Gentleman in Moscow that I need to get to. I might even get to that first before getting to this one, but this is a monstrously huge book. It's very large. It's actually, it's almost 600 pages, so it's a pretty big chunker. For book of the month, they usually don't have books quite this long. It's usually like between like 300, 400, 500, but this one's like hefty. But this is historical fiction as well, set in the 50s, and we follow a young man named Emmett who is released from like a work farm for I think involuntary manslaughter, and so he served some time and then he's released, and he plans to pick up, I think, either his sister or his brother, and they're going to go to California and try to start a new life. But instead, he has a couple of hijackers in his trunk, some friends from the work farm who kind of sneak a ride in, and they have other plans for his life. So he discovers them, and I think they go the opposite direction to New York, and this story is set across 10 days, and I think it follows their road trip going to New York and maybe what happens to them when they get to New York. But this is an author who, again, I just feel like when I do get to him, I'm going to love him. So, yeah. Another 1950s era. I have the 30s, I had the 60s, and now I have the 50s. And now for a book set in modern times, this is A Little Hope by Ethan Joella. The cover of this is just stunning. It was kind of more of a cover buy, but also it sounds heartbreaking, and I did read the first page or a few pages, and I really liked the writing style, so I decided to pick this up as well. This is about a small Connecticut town, and I believe it's kind of like just a family saga drama of this small town, and someone gets cancer, and it follows how that affects this small town and the people that are connected with this person that gets cancer. I don't know a lot, but the cover is stunning, and it sounded emotional. I really liked the writing style when I was reading a little bit of it, and so I decided to add it to my box. That is how Book of the Month gets me. They have a lot of good selections, and often it's either I don't want any of the selections that month or I want all of them. In the same box, I got Will Smith's new autobiography, and I'm excited for this one. I mean, just like many Americans, I am a Will Smith fan and have watched a lot of Will Smith movies. Who doesn't love Will Smith? And so, again, another stunning cover. They're killing it on the covers lately. They're getting me to buy everything. So Will Smith autobiography has some pictures in it, which are very intriguing. And yeah, I'm excited to learn more about his life. I believe he's had a really interesting life. So can't wait for this. And I believe this is my last book of the month that I have to show you. It is this young adult? I think it is. I think it's a young adult fantasy, which I haven't read in some time, but this is The Keeper of the Night by Kylie Lee Baker. I've seen this book on a lot of people's anticipated release videos, and it does sound really intriguing. The premise is kind of a neat blend. I believe there's a bit of a Grim Reaper vibe as well as like Japanese. It's a very interesting blend of ideas and genres. It's half British Reaper and half Japanese Shinigami. Ren Scarborough has been collecting souls in the London streets for centuries. So I guess our main character is a Grim Reaper. Looks like a lot of fun. I haven't heard really any reviews for this yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it eventually. Also another stunning cover, so yeah. Okay, so non-book of the month. We finally got through that pile. Whew. Next up, I pre-ordered Cytonic, like way back in the beginning of the year. Had pre-ordered this. Kind of forgot that I did. It surprised me in the mail, and I was like, oh, it got released. I knew it was getting released in November, but just kind of lost track of the days. So I now have it. I have read Skyward and Starsight before, and honestly, I think I need to reread them before picking this up, because I don't think I have enough details in my mind. I so wish that I remembered them better because I wasn't exactly planning on rereading them, but I think I'm going to need to. So I'm actually going to reread Skyward and Starsight in hopefully the next few months, and then get into Cytonic. So while I have it, I am dying to know what happens next. I do remember the cliffhanger at the end of Starsight, and just being like, oh, I gotta know what happens next. I've really had a lot of fun reading these, and I just need to reread them, I think. I kind of want to be back in that world first for a little bit before I find out what happens next. So, gonna do a little rereading and then get to this. This next book kind of makes me laugh every time I look at it, but it is this long-running joke in Michael Nipp's Discord that we have to read this book called Anthem. One of Michael's Patreons, I believe, his name is Rich. He's a friend of ours, and he doesn't make booktube videos, but he is a very active member of the community, and we love him dearly. He shouts from the rooftops about Anthem, and it's like to the point where it's like a running joke that we have to read Anthem. So Michael said that December would be the buddy read month where we're gonna buddy read Anthem. So I bought it not really knowing how thick it was. Also, December is a really busy month for me, so we'll see. I think it's going to take me far longer than 1 month to get through it, but I am going to start it in December and hopefully not put it down until I finish it. There's a lot about this that, one, intimidates me, but two, interests me. This is about a monk named Fra Erasmus, and he's a young monk who is cloistered in a sanctuary for mathematicians, scientists, philosophers, protected from the corrupting influences of the outside world. But then he gets, I think, pulled into this world drama. He gets pulled into the outside world. And from what I understand, it's probably a pretty brainy story. There's a lot of math and science. The author himself, I think, is a physicist or studied physics at one point. There's 7 previous novels as well. So I've got to check out some more Neil Stephenson if I end up liking this. But there's also, I believe, some talk about music and Gregorian chant. There's even a soundtrack that goes along with this book that I think, I'm not sure if it was like created by a fan. I remember listening to it when Rich was talking about it, and I checked out the soundtrack, and I was like, wow, what an interesting book this must be. It has its own soundtrack, so it's time. It's time. Very excited for this, and also incredibly intimidated, and it doesn't help that it's about 1,000 pages. So, at least the mass market paperback is. So, there's that, but slightly terrified of this. Next up, I want to talk about a few books that were very, very, very kindly sent to me by my dear, dear friend, Christy Lewis from the channel Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space. She sent me an early Christmas present, which was so sweet. She went on my Amazon wish list, which is linked down below. I actually link it down below, but I never talk about it. So it's there, but I never advertise it. But Christy is so far, I think, the only one who's ever used it. But that's not, you do not have to use it. Please, yeah, no, it's okay. You do not have to use it, but it's there if you felt so inclined ever. That's the only time I've ever talked about it on this channel. But she sent me 2 books that I'm really excited about. The first one I'll show you is Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Mistborn Era 2 series, which is getting a little bit more attention right now because Sanderson is releasing the 4th book in this series in 2022. So I haven't actually read them yet. I do own, what is it, Alloy of Law. It's somewhere around here. And so I need to try it and get to it. I know I'll enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed anything else by Brandon Sanderson, or at least I intend to enjoy it. I assume I'm going to enjoy it. So she gave me the second book too. I am making plans to get to this in 2022 because I do want to be on the hype train for the new book that's going to come out. So that is the plan, a tentative plan for 2022. I actually don't even know when the 4th book is coming out next year. I don't know if it's towards the end of the year or the beginning, so I should look into that. Or you might tell me in the comments. But now I have the second book, so thank you, Christy. You're just the nicest person ever. She also sent me another Dorothy Sayers book, The Mind of the Maker. We just read Dorothy Sayers together with Emma from the Bookish Princess, and also Carla from Raised to Walk, and a few other people were jumping in along with us. And we are going to have a bit of a discussion. I don't know if it's going to be a live one or a Zoom one, but we're planning on a discussion to talk about our thoughts. We read Letters to a Diminished Church by Dorothy Sayers. And now I have another one because I loved Dorothy Sayers and I was super excited to pick up more by her. And Christy jumped right on that and sent me another book by Dorothy Sayers. So now I have no excuse. I can keep reading her, and I'm very, very stoked about this. I loved what I read from Dorothy Sayers. So hooray! Thank you so much, Christy. Love you. I just love you. Next up was also a book that was gifted to me by my church small group. So my church has been going through this series using the Enneagram to kind of like analyze yourself as you relate to others and as you relate to God and as you relate to the world, really. And our pastor, his name is Matt Brown, he wrote a book and our small group bought a copy for us, which is really nice of them. And it is this book. A book called You, Understanding the Enneagram from a Grace-Filled Biblical Perspective. So I've really learned a lot about the Enneagram. I'm an Enneagram 1, if you care, if you're interested. And I'm 1, and then my second highest is a 5, which was interesting to learn. I'm like a 1-5-4. And so, yeah, if you're interested in the Enneagram, this is cool. I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited to. We've been going through a sermon series by him, and he's gone through like each number of the Enneagram and kind of talked about like what your core issues are with each number, and also what your strengths are with each number. So, from a biblical perspective, and also like using the Bible to talk about the Enneagram. So it's been really cool, and we've kind of gotten to learn a lot about each other too. And our small group was like new people that we didn't know before, so we got to learn a little bit about them and vice versa. So it's been fun. But now I have the book that our pastor wrote, and eventually we'll read it. I've heard that it's really good from a gal in the group who had already started it. So hopefully we'll get to this sometime soon. I don't know when. So at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that my new work office is near a Goodwill bookstore. And so I did pop in there only once this fall. So it's just been that busy. But I did pop in there after work one day, and I got a few books from there. The first one I have to show you is The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. It's a completely heartbreaking story. It's about two people who are about to get married, and then I think the boy dies like before they are able to get married, and it's about her and I think her grief experience, and there's maybe some magical realism as well. But I've heard really good things about this, and it sounds like it's going to be a real tearjerker. Next up, I picked up an Aldous Huxley book. After Many a Summer Dies the Swan. I've only ever read Brave New World back in high school, and I don't remember a ton about it, but I figured I should try him again, probably reread that one because my memory is so poor on it. And then this was just something that caught my eye in the store, and it's about a Hollywood millionaire with a terror of death whose personal physician happens to be at work on a theory of longevity. So I think it's a little bit about like extending your life and like the morality of what does it mean to be immortal? Should we be immortal? I'm totally guessing. I don't know if that's actually what it's about, but I think so. I think it's about a man who wants to be immortal. So picked this up. Don't really know much about it. I also picked up Everything is Illuminated by Jonathan Safran Foer. I have read a book by him before. I've read the one that's about 9/11 that I can't remember what it's called, but it centers around 9/11. It was great. Loved that book. Have wanted to pick up some more by him, but haven't. I'm collecting his books now. I have another book by him, which I also can't remember the title of. Apparently, I don't remember his titles at all. But Everything is Illuminated. I believe there's a movie as well, starring Elijah Wood, if that's the movie that I'm thinking of. And I know that it was very beloved when it came out. So I wanted to give it a go. This is a nice bright yellow edition. And then the last book that I picked up is a classic. Wouldn't be a book haul from me if there wasn't a classic in here. And it is The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. Have never read Dumas. I really need to read The Count of Monte Cristo. I kind of want to read that first, and then maybe this one, or maybe this is a good starting point. You tell me. But yes, now I have The Three Musketeers. Is a nice copy. It has, what is that, deckled edges as well, which I like deckled edges. I know that the community is divided on that issue, but I like them. Those are all the books that I've picked up in the last 3 months. Let me know if you've read any of them, if you're interested in seeing me read any of them quickly, soon. There's a lot to add to the pile, to my already large owned TBR. So it's okay. We like buying books. And also thank you for my friends who have gifted me books. Thank you, Christy. So kind, so thoughtful. If you feel so inclined to subscribe, the button's down there. And if you want to hit the little bell icon so that you're notified whenever I post new videos, feel free to do so. If not, don't. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a fantastic December here coming up. And keep reading great books. And I'll talk to you next time, which hopefully won't be a month from now. Bye-bye.